name is Modesto Flako Jimenez. I am a creator. I am Dominican from the Caribbean, born and raised. And I came to the Americas, to the almighty Bushwick land, and I make crazy experimental art for my peoples. OJ Group is a company that I founded in 2012, I did my first book launch, and I realized that I gave a poem from my book to a bunch of my friends and was like, hey, you're a gentrifier, you're a local, create some art of this poem, I'll give you a check, and then we'll have this beautiful celebration of this book that I'm launching. And that became my first festival under Brooklyn Gypsies, which was the first name of the company. And then we transferred it over to OJ Group. And something that already was true to me was my first book was called OJ for My Dear Brooklyn. And the company now is OJ Group, for us to listen to each other as the group. I wrote a play that was supposed to take place in a car and pitched it around before the pandemic. Everybody was like, you're crazy. That's why you're calling me crazy. And then eventually the pandemic came, because I just create what I want to make and what I think my peoples will be. Yeah, my people sit in back of cabs. So I know that I can promote to them a show to come and listen to the stories of their neighborhood in a cab, but not in a theater, right? So it's like figuring out those modes of operation of like, how do I feed my people? The other people are gonna come because they're theater goers, they're art makers. They're gonna wanna see something different that is exploring other forms. So yeah, I know that ticket is gonna sell. Like, it's gonna sell itself to the artist. But to my people, now I have a morsel to sell them, right? Like, hey, look here. And by the way, the tickets are super cheap because you actually live in Bushwick, so that's one of my things in my contract. Like, I need this much tickets for my community. So it's always making sure that, like, turn up the right way. My card piece does not let me act outside of Bushwick. So wherever I take this play that you want to buy as a producer, artistic director, presenter, that means that you got to get locals from your community to be able to write the story that I wrote for my community. So it's location based. I built a franchise because it's business. At the end of the day, you got to respect that this nonprofit model, if you wanted to sustain the company, it's a business. Man, I feel like everything is syncing so well right now when it comes to me and experimenting and exploring all these different art forms, that I saw this application that said MAXmachina and VR projects, and I was like, wow, I'm currently developing this VR project and I don't know much about VR and programmers and all of this moment. How do I work with an organization that's gonna be able to like let me play and explore to get a story to my people? MAXmachina was like, come on, we had multiple meetings on like, what is it that I want? And really, this is shout out to Kay, bro. That lady really like sat me down, even while I was on vacation, calling me up, being like, yo, I wanna make sure that we can actually support your project. Which that usually you don't hear. You're here, you got the grant, you're gonna open this day, we're gonna hit you with a production meeting real quick. She actually had 3 to 4 meetings with me before even saying yes, just to make sure that she came back to her team and told her team exactly what I wanted. I want to create a healing room for people to go in and be themselves in a VR project, no matter where they're at in the world, to make sure to heal with some art tools, which was crazy. She already had people she wanted me to talk to before she even told me I had the contract, which already knew like, oh nah, she really down with this mission. She's really down with this mission of like figuring out healing through a VR system. You down with healing? Okay, cool, that's already. So now I also want to challenge and see if I could put people in a VR system and make them become a caregiver to a person who has mental illness. Or let them be that person with the mental issues to make sure they can actually like put themselves in somebody else's feet. So yeah, MAXmachina got me excited. Like 2 years of just exploration in VR and storytelling and figuring out how to be able to deliver that to my neighborhood worldwide, because at the end of every neighborhood got a hood, right? So really excited for that, bro. There are only a few companies. I've done 1 million residencies. There are only a few companies that I can always say right now that are like really, really at the front of letting people just explore before the product becomes sellable. The way that MAXmachina and Kay have approached me, like it feels organic. It feels like, yeah, so no. We know that we're presenting around this date, but I already want you to just have conversations about mental health with these people. I already want you to talk about, look at all this other programming work. Look at all these artists of color, right? Already, which is a big one, because usually these organizations like pitching their number ones that already are key holders. So like, I love that part. So I'm excited to keep playing with Kay, because even the meetings that we have are like super fruitful. I just think it's part of the work. As an artist, you have a responsibility to like enlighten people and teach people there's more than just the constant bullshit and the constant struggles that society has put to be like what you need to focus on day to day. Let people hear about the work. Stop all these tweetings and postings and Instagrammings and all this unnecessary nonsense to just ego-driven yourself into like insanity. So how do you make sure that you stay in that classroom? How do you make sure that you keep creating? Because you shouldn't be a teacher if you're not practicing it. Just all those layers. Just do the work is the most important thing that I would say. We have a great partnership with the Morph Radio Hour now, where we have kids from our neighborhood learning how to tell their stories. Document them, then we give them a pair of shoes, and we give them a check for learning. So all of my school programs have that. I'm in jail teaching kids now to make sure that like they know that they don't need to be in that system. I literally gave out all those shoes last week. Now I'm giving them out this week. Every shoe that goes out with a check of $250. That's over 30 shoes last week. This week you saw the ones that are downstairs. So it's constantly like pushing myself to just do the work. Right now I'm such an uncomfortable, healthy, and not comfortable, complacent, but like I like the world I've been building for me and my peoples without having to be ego-driven. Give me press, always brag about it. I'm super hopeful for the youth, man. Facilitating for them a place where they can engage, feel uncomfortable, but also keep moving forward to find some answers for themselves and for like whatever they feel, Bushwick, Brooklyn, or whatever landscape they're in, they feel like they can actually create and build and yes, probe, challenge, be challenged, because nothing should be comfortable. Yeah, that's OJ Group.